Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I am going to talk about two important and useful commands that could be very useful for your session management. So when you are working on a pen test, it's not necessary that you would be able to complete the pen test in a day. And definitely you will never be able to complete the pen test in a single day, right? You will be running the pen test for at least a couple of days, or if it is an internal pen test, it could be weeks, uh, for all you know, right? Now, this is where these two commands will be very helpful for you. The first one that I want to talk about is save. As you can see, basically the save command allows you to save the current session in a MSF4 folder called as config, and it will uh, save your currently active session as is, so that when you start MSF console next time, it will start with those settings. The other one that is very useful is make RC. Uh, so if you type make RC, it basically saves the commands executed since startup to the specified file. Now this I have already created one with make RC, so I am going to show that to you. I When I started my session, I just executed the four commands that I need to exploit this Windows XP machine, and then did a make RC. And to make RC, you can actually give a output RC file name, and I gave it as winxp.rc. So it creates a file like this, and you can, as you can see, this is plain text file, right? So I can edit it with any editor, and you can see that I am using it basically saved all the commands that I have typed in MSF console into this file, and here you can add whatever else you want to, and this now becomes a RC file that you can use with MSF console when you are starting MSF console with -r command. As you can see, -r will allow you to specify a resource command. So if you start MSF console with -q and -r winxp.rc, you can see that it will not show me any banner because I have given -q, and then it will use the -r to read the contents from winxp.rc. You can see that it is reading this, and then it is executing the command, and I am back to my Metasploit session without doing anything on my system. Now, same thing you can do from your running session as well. If you are already in a MSF console session, you can type resource and then the command, the resource file that you want to use, and it will execute the same commands that you have executed with -r earlier. Now, similar to this, you can also use, let me exit this so that we are back to our MSF console prompt. Now, in the beginning, I mentioned about db status command, right? If you see, right now it says that Postgres SQL selected but no connection. So let me first quickly do that. Systemctl start Postgres. So this will start the Postgres service that is required for Metasploit to connect to. And we can check this with the status of Postgres with status command, and we can see that now the Postgres SQL is running. I could have done this with msfdb run, but this requires me to run it as elevated user, so I didn't want to do that. But now I can run msf console again, and it should be connected. So once it starts, we can again check the DB status, and I would expect that this is connected. Yeah, so you can now see that I am connected to MSF and connection type is PostgreSQL. What this means is that now there are a lot of DB commands that I can use. I can export the DB, I can import the DB from somewhere else, I can run a nmap with db nmap, uh, and so on and so forth, right? But most importantly, now I can use the command workspace. Currently, there is only one workspace, but if there are multiple applications or multiple clients for which I am working, then I can actually add a new workspace. And first, I can check the help, and I can see that we can add a workspace with -a. So I can say -a Amit AG, and it will create a new workspace and also make that active. So now this workspace is active, which is where all my data will go. This will ensure that this is basically your boundaries between the two different uh, sessions that you are doing. So if I do a host here, this will not list the host that I have done in my workspace default. And similarly, if I had vulnerabilities here, it will not show those from there. Now, since I have done this, I can actually use this to add my host also into my R host. For example, let's say search net API, use 13 again, and then I can say something like hosts -a and hosts -r. Minus, uh, yeah, hosts minus capital R. But for that, the host should be already in the hosts output. Now, since the hosts are not in this output, what I can do is I can add the host manually into in the hosts database. I can say hosts -a and add the host. Now, if I run a host, I can see that the host is added here. I can also use this for db nmap, right? And db nmap and then run this. And then you will see that it will basically populate this database with a little more information. But if I execute more verbose nmap with service scan and all those things, it would populate this even more. So I can also do services to see what services I have discovered so far on the various hosts. Now all that done, once I have selected exploit that I want to execute, actually I can now do host -r, and it will automatically set the R host to this depending on the service and the port, right? So if I had 15 servers listed in hosts, but two of them were Linux, then it would only add 13 of them here because this is a Windows exploit. Similarly, once I have found the vulnerabilities, I can also say vulnerabilities and it will show me all the vulnerabilities that it has found and so on and so forth. So these are a couple of the useful commands which will make your life much easier. Once you are done with your workspace, you can actually switch back to default, and you can also delete the workspace with workspace -d and the workspace name. It will delete the workspace and then you can list all the workspaces here. That's all for today. Thank you.